Right, if anybody's out there, I am back online again. I shall just go onto the Society's website and repost Virtual Scale Forum SD for just have to read. Just have to restart. Copy. To check me. Well, just a technical problem. Just had to restart due to technical problem. Submit. Next topics. Right, if anybody's out there, I am restarting. I've just dropped a clanger and forgot to plug the computer in when I moved it over to this side of the workshop. Anybody, hopefully people will see where I've gone to now that I've posted, and I shall carry on from there. Right, yes, so we're now on to the springing units themselves, and I'll just make these, fold these up again. It's all 90-degree folds, so we make a little U-shape type thing. Thanks, John. I'll fix up the forum postings. Yep, I appreciate that. So, where are we up to? That's right, we were cutting out. So we were cutting out the springing units, and John had asked me what I was using to cut it out with. It's just a knife. I did sharpen it earlier on a carborundum. Basically, in fact, I'll do it again. Just like this. It's a very old book. Well, I say it's a very old. It's probably been in there 3 weeks now. But just sharpen it up to make sure that it will cut the material that we're using. Now, the other question, another part to the question about cutting metal, I do tend to If I need a sheet cutting, I use a knife again to get a square cut. And I do this by scribing it several times with the knife and then folding it, basically cut and fold. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Now then, the springing units have the cups attached to the wrong side, if you know what I mean. They go this way. I put it on there so you can see them. The fold is downwards, and the cup fits onto this side. Into the half etch gap. So all we need to do now is solder those in place. Again, small dabble of flux on those. Don't want too much solder. A very light amount on there. Squeezing it tight because I want it to solder it in rather than flood the rear of it. Lay that on there, hold it for a second and drop it down. We'll do the same on the other one. Just make sure it's in the right place before we solder it, as I'll be taking it off again. And again, squeezing it tight, solder on the edge, and that's made sure it's well flooded. Right, James. We do have some postal tubes for 1 meter length of selling rail. So although it's not listed on the store's website, we can do it. Off the top of my head, I think it's about £11 just to send the tube. So with the contents in it, it will be a little bit more. As I said before, Colin Stevenson asked me if I could send him some. So I will do as soon as he puts an order in, and I will email him direct later to tell him we can do that. We've had the tubes quite a long time now, and I've only sent a couple of them out. Occasionally people do ask me whether they can have meter length. So I bought some tubes. Anyway, moving on from where I was, we need to make sure that that piece fits in. So it slots into that section there. So I need to cut these lengths so that they fit between. And at the moment, I will just nip off quite a fair amount. Definitely cut and snap with these. Oh, there's one that's gone. With these cutters, quite old, as I said before. Let's just get the right distance, so put that in place, and 1, 2. So that one's not got the way through, just snap that off. I hope I've got that right. It's a little difficult to do this and make sure that the camera can see it as well. Right, James, do you stock the conductor rail in these lengths? Yes, I do. All rail comes in meter lengths. I actually have to cut it to the 1/2 meter to post it. So all sizes of rail are available as, I'll just squeeze this a little tighter close because it doesn't quite fit in the gap. As I say, all rail comes to me in meter lengths, and I cut it to post it to you when you order it. Anyway, let's put that in there and put the screw in. Where are we? Need a screwdriver. There. That fits through, and it comes through the other side. But we've got the springing unit in position. I might have cut that one a bit short actually, but doesn't matter. It's only a test for now. No, let's change it, or at least pull it out a bit further. Let's unscrew that a bit more. Put that on there. I'll just bring the glass down a bit further so it might go a bit out of thing while I do it. We'll do it from this side so that we don't lose the springiness. We need to warm that whole section up. And pull it through a bit. There. Now try and put that back into position. So just remind everybody that we are doing free postage on all orders today, and that is worldwide, not just in the UK. So good time to put an order in. Only had a couple so far, so if you need anything, we should have stock still. Right, so that's in. Now the springing units themselves slot into the gap. Now they don't fit these bearings in that slot, so I'm going to have to enlarge that a little bit. I'll get a very fine small file. There's one on here, isn't it? Yeah, there's a small warding file. So we'll just file the sides wider. Don't want to go too far or be too aggressive, as we don't want them to be too loose afterwards. As I say, any questions, please ask. I'm here all day. Needs to go a bit further. I must admit, I didn't expect to be making a chassis today. I thought I'd be showing much more things to do with the stores, but actually I'm quite enjoying it. It's nice to sit in here, do this and talk. Just widening these slots so the bearing will fit in. It's a little tight, but let's try the other side. Yeah, they're both still a little tight, but a little bit more. That should be about right, I think. Yeah, a little bit stiff, but probably wants the bearing taking off. I should do with the same fine cut file. I think I'll the top of my head, it's a second cut. But I do like these 4-inch files. They're very good. Of course, I can shorten one end, and the other side I need lengthening. Let's see. Yes, that spring is just slightly too long on that side, so we'll quickly remove it and shorten it. Right, there it goes. Anyway, slip the screw back in and screw it up. Hopefully these should fit in here again. I've just realised why it won't fit in that slot. I haven't cleaned up the section at the just in there, so they're slightly wide for the slot. Anyway, I'll just file those back, and hopefully that shall fit in nicely now. Get this right on top of that pin. And there we are. It should run smoothly. It's not running quite as smoothly as I would like it. So let's just have a look at that. I can see it. We've got a bit of excess solder. It's going to offend. So file that neatly back. And the tweezers again to push it into position. He says hopefully. That's running nice and smoothly in that slot. Doing the same with the other side. I'll run that file up a bit. Make sure we haven't got any more solder on. That's at the outside of the bearing. And then make sure that those are clean in there. Now, has anybody got questions about the stores, please ask. And that runs smoothly in there. Let's put a pair of wheels in that have been kicking around on the bench for a long time for doing this sort of work. And they are nicely sprung. Stick a pair on the other end and make sure that the positioning is correct of these movable. Let's make them tight. Now they're a little pushed in from the side of the, oops, I've pushed that right out. They're a little pushed in from the side of these, but I think they're ultra scale wheels actually, a very, very old pair of steel ones which have gone very, very rusty. And spotted there. So that springs nicely. And of course, that's what we want, a nice smooth movement. Right, well the next part, I assume, is the brakes. Now, let's just get rid of some of the waste we've got hanging around on here. So just cut that off. He says, very fine. Cutters are here, just nip that off and we can stick that in the waste box. Now I save all my spare brass and every so often I cash it in. And last time I cashed it in, I had 40 kilos. Sorry, I had 20 kilos and got 40 pounds. So, well worth doing. So I'll just snap these, another excess bit off. I didn't use the plate on here. This, of course, is for setting the springs on the frame that we just had to play around with. Had I have used it, I wouldn't have had to cut them or lengthen them. I've made quite a few of these and found it's just as easy to slot it in position and cut them to length or lengthen them. Get rid of that. Now then, what have we got? Right. We shall need to move the camera slightly and down. Okay. Move that up. The light might be better. And again, I can't see a thing, but we will attempt to cut them out. In fact, if I turn that off and bring it down here, I'll be able to see it using the lamp that's here that's better designed for this. Right, so let's just cut these pieces. And the two on here. Where else are we still stuck in? Just there. There's one set of brakes and brake for the opposite side. Of course, these are clasp brakes. And where are we cutting that? Two brakes. Now then, what we need to do, excuse me a minute. Ooh. Let's have a quick scratch. Right, so looking at this, we need to fold this into position. Now all the folds should be 90 degrees inwards, but before I do any of this, I need to take out this little bit there. And this is a 180 degree bend, and it's this one, which is 180 degree bends are opposite to 90 degree bends, in my opinion. So instead of folding it inwards, I'm folding it, sorry, I've got this wrong. I am folding all of them inwards. All the bends are inwards. So if I hold this a little closer to the camera, let's see. Right. Another pair of tweezers. So this piece here folds in on itself. So we fold that one around there and this one round there, so that it's an inward fold on this. Just push them into position and clamp them up a bit closer, and then I'll get them under the magnifier and straighten it up. So probably that. What I haven't done, of course, is cut off the extra or the now taken off. I've folded them up. I've taken off the outer overlays for the brake block. I need to look for that in the magnifying glass to make sure we've got it in the right position. And we have, and again, once that's in position, I shall a bit of flux on the edge. Let's just make sure we're in the right position. I'll need to turn this on. See what I'm doing. Right, I've got that in the right position, and solder on there, and hopefully, as I said, I did put some flux on before. We'll put a bit more on. Capillary reaction should drag it all in. There, just cool that down a bit, and the same at the other end. Make sure I'm right before I put any solder on it. Yeah, that's perfect. And again, I'll move that to there and make sure it's need a bit more flux. Should be a good joint of solder. Visible, it should be visible from the other side, but it's not on here. So what I'll do is I'll reflux that. A bit more solder on there. Iron. Haven't got any. And you should see that glow silver. As capillary reaction pulls it through. Anyway, I've also filled the hole, which I will drill out. Now then, this is a 0.5 drill, but it's not a drill. Or it was a drill, I've just whittled it down. Drill that through. Yeah, if you can see that clearly enough. I need to put it on a dark background, I suppose. Let's just stick that behind it. There is no cutting edge on it. It's a paddle drill or lance, easily made on a carborundum with an old drill. Case of filing it down one side, 180 degrees, and file it down the other side, then putting blade action on it. and they're much sturdier than the twist drills that you buy. Anyway, so the first brake section has been made. We need to fold it into position, like so. There's also a fold up as well, and there are two little etched tabs that could do with removing. So I shall just remove them with a second cut file. Just clean up the base edge. There's another one there. For the moment, I'm keeping well away from the actual stick of the brake, and we've still got to clean up the interior of the shoe. Anyway, going around to the brake shoes themselves. Sorry, the brake shoe overlay themselves. I'm not sure whether I can actually fold it around the one that's there. Actually, it looks like I can. As with most of, no, it doesn't quite. I folded it round, but it doesn't quite reach the holes. So what I need to do is to take off that piece at the back, which is where I folded them over earlier on. Now, using a stronger file, in fact, I'll hold that in the pliers and get a good grip. I'll move the camera this way a bit. Just take off the back of, or the joiner for the brake block, I should say. Let's clean those off. Where's the shoe gone? Right. Going back to the shoe overlay, making sure I've got it the right way round. I shall slot that over he says. Let's put those down. Slot that over, making sure it's all squared. And it might be an idea to put the drill through it again, making sure it goes through all the pieces. And that will hold the back level. Hopefully going to squeeze these all together without it moving. And if I can just hold this carefully without snapping the drill. I'm going to solve the whole lot up together. Hopefully. I can't get it to sit properly with my finger on the back. In fact, I'll give up on that idea and just solder it on. The idea was that I wouldn't have to drill it out again. I can't seem to get it to sit properly. I might need to take, no, I don't need to take any more off. There we are. Now let's just move that pot over there. And plenty of flux on the back. Solder on the iron. Put the solder there and allow everything to flow into position. I'm using the back of the soldering iron because I know I've got some solder on the front. So that is the shoe made up. I still need to clean up the front because I have the etch cusps to take off and we want a nice finish. So again, on the other side, just, where are we? We have drilled out, haven't we? Just double check. Yep. We'll fold that around. And again, we'll put the drill through. Four pieces together. That's a tighter fit, so this might be easier to do it this way. Let's make sure we've got them square. Oh. That's square. Clamp. Flux on the back. Before it gets too soldered up, we'll take the drill out, put it in position, clamp it down, and allow the solder to run into all the gaps. Taking the drill again, I'll re-drill out the hole. Not too worried about whether the drill is square or not. We're only drilling into solder, so hopefully the drill will find the hole we already had. Clean off the crud. Now we're drilling nearly 1 millimetre worth of brass here, and there's nowhere for the excess to cut off, so I'm only doing little bits at a time and cleaning the end of the drill. And I'll edit out any broken drills later. There we are, it's gone through. Just clean off the solder crud that's there. Now then, we still need to clean up the front. And I'm holding that in the pliers. I shall just do that with the round file, sorry, the half round file. Let's get that nicely tight. Using my thumb to keep it in the right sort of position. Just casually remove the etch. Whoops, a daisy. That's at the back. I'll take a little bit more off at the back because I don't want, just in case it touches the wheels, I don't want any short circuiting. Well, I haven't broken a drill yet today, so there's no need to count them yet. Or if you've started, you're still on 0. I'll just turn this upside down. Oops, just caught that. Doesn't matter too much. No, let's do it this way. And that's cleaned up the inside of there. It's just goes down. Just do the top. I say the top is actually the bottom, isn't it? Because we've got this upside down. Anyway, just clean up anything there. Clean up anything there. Push it all back into shape. And that's the first set of brakes. Now, which one's that? I'm not sure. Almost certainly, looking at the shape of this, that should be the inner, because the lever sticks outwards. So, same again with the other side. Using the knife to cut the bits out. And to remove that one there, that one there, and then we can fold that over. Don't know how you're seeing this. Let's hope the light isn't too bright. That's one side. Put my card back on. I've just bent it. No, we've bent it back again. So when I find these in the right position, I shall hold that with that. With the other tweezers, I'll just move this bend to the correct position. Flex all the way along the join. Make this over there. If I put the and in different places the solder should flow via the flux and fill the void. Same at the other end. That's interesting, Pete. Not sure how to get around that, but let's hope they're just enjoying what I'm doing. We've got solder on there. At the top. Need a bit more flux on there. In the back of the iron, allowing the solder to run into the void. Now then, it's difficult to do this while watching the screen and trying to keep it in camera view, so bear with me. Yeah, we've got that. Okay. As before. Hold that while I take that fold piece off the back. Quickly drill out the holes. Hopefully I don't put too many holes in my fingers. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Bernie. Hadn't noticed that, but yes, we'll have gone to the carpet god. All right. Where are these? So again, I'll just nip that. Not far too big to play around with. So these need to be folded round. Well, that's the first one. The back, making sure I put the front on the front. Again, I'll put the drill through so we can find the right position. And that's not quite right. There's something getting in the way. We'll take that off, drop that out. Oh, I can see it, yes. On the back of here, we have a little bit sticking out. Haven't filed it off. There, that's gone. So as before, slot that around the brake block using the drill to find the center now. I've got to email, just check. David has just asked where it went wrong before, in the sense that you lost picture. Yes, it went wrong at my end. I forgot to plug the computer in when I moved it from the other side of the room, so it ran out of battery and I had to restart. So I do apologize to anybody who was watching. Anyhow, got it sorted fairly quickly. It's just making sure people knew how to re-find me. Anyway, I am just trying to square this up before, there we are, before I solder it. Just hold it together there. Let's just put that back on. Right, we're not quite square, so I shall take the solder off. That on there, you can see that's better. Square that up. And also we're only stuck on one side, so let's get the pliers and crimp that down. Right, holding that in the pliers, flux that up. Bit more solder on the bottom, and I can see the solder all run into position. That's that. They don't look very square, but it's all matched up, so I'll see when I put them on. There we are, there's the other brake set. Take that off. So we'll fold them up into position first. Make sure I get it the right way around. That is with the half-etched section of the on the front, and again putting the drill through all the holes to match everything up. I'll just use the to clamp it, and holding it all as a one flux on the back. Solder up and attach that to it, making sure that the has not stuck, and grip that tightly. A bit more flux. Solder. Where are we? Too much solder on the thing, so I'll turn it upside down so that I can draw it all through without adding any more on. Re-drill the hole. Partway cleaned it out. Let's get rid of the swarf. Drill from the other side. There we are. That's that drill. Let's just put a file on those and clear off any swarf. Thanks, Peter. That's a nice comment. Let's clean those off. And again, we need to clean up the front. And again, I will hold in the pliers so I can get a firm grip. That's shape and on the back. Well, then the other end. Whoops. Yep, just bend that. That bends back easy enough. What I haven't done yet, and I'll do that now, is to take off the fold round. I'm using a slightly heavier file. It is a second cut. I think the other ones are probably third cut. Oh, I need to hold that tight and rub it away. Yep. Just before I fold this up, I will double check that hole. It's a little thin on this side, but I've probably pushed in the... Yep, we're okay. Anyway, quickly whip off these 2, 3 etch cusp things and fold it up. Now then, what do we do with this one? So there's a fold there, a fold there, take that off. Now then, I've just realised there are some holes in there. Let's drill those out. Well, they're a bit small for 0.5. I'm going to use a 0.3 drill. Again, this is a 0.3 drill, which is made and sharpened like a paddle, like the previous one. And I shall just stick those through that hole. Now it's on a long arm, this drill, so I can rest it in my shoulder and keep it steady, and that will stop it from, or it won't stop it, but it will help it from wobbling around too much and snapping. See the length of the arm on that drill. And we can fold that up. So we now have 2 brakes. Assuming, where are we? Let's find there we are. These need to be popped up. And little, how can we say this? We popped these up earlier on, 1, 2 tabs. And this should slot over them. They are quoted as end A and end B. And this one is end A. I'm sure they don't, with that in the way, they don't fit in the right position. Now this is something Brian, this is the first time I've made this, so this is something Brian has not thought about. Actually, has he thought about it? What if where are we? No. I've not thought about it, would be more to the point. It's not where are we? We put this in the other way round. And see where we're slotting. No, it still doesn't slot into the right position. And it doesn't go that way, so it has to fit in here. Yes, Brian, you've made a mess there. That's interesting. I shall have to have a look at this. Anyway. Of course, now I've got the screw in that end at the wrong position. Let's just take the wheels out. Oh dear. That screw's going to be awkward. Move that up. So, tighten that up, push that into place. Yes, we need to make a small cutout there to go around that screw, I think, which is rather annoying. I must admit, this is the first one of these I've made up, but I've sold plenty of them, so I'm assuming somebody else has made them up and not found these problems, or got round these problems would be a better thought. So, just take that out. How much are we going to have to take off? Good question. Well, we'll start there. Or, why don't I? Yes. If I take this out completely, using the squawker, if I take the solder back out of there, hopefully there's enough there to hold it in position. Before I lose it, we'll get rid of that. we put it on, we'll put that in position. Let's make sure these tabs are upright. Right, where are we going? Oh, got the wrong side. That's the one. Yes, they're definitely handed, these break ends. Can't quite get it onto that. Yes, there is a slight discrepancy, I think, which means that needs to be filed back a little bit further. Let's get that. To fit. Yes, now that fits nicely in there. Now then, Brian likes to pin things, so we need a little bit of wire to push through. Let's find some. What have we got? I've got some 0.33 here. So, put this back in position. And like a screwdriver. Screw that out. The wire through. Well, why don't we drill them out first? That's one. Get the cutters. That's two. So there we are, we've got that break in. Hopefully in the right place. Let's double check we're going to put some wheels in. Okay, drop something. There it is. Right, the springing's in. It's a case of, well, he says the springing's in, the other one's popped out. So the springing is in. So is the brake. Now then, why doesn't this brake fit? What have I done wrong? Or what has Brian done wrong? Because I put all the folds in the right place. Or I folded it up in the right place, I should say. But Brian seems to have put the wrong way around. Put the fold in the wrong place. Or has he? Yes, Brian has put the fold in the wrong place. So we're going to take that piece off. I shall do that with a pair of tin snips. Get it the right way around and just basically snip that off. Shame, but goes to show you just need to check and double check. Yes, you should check and double check, because it's not Brian that's got it wrong, it's me. It says end A, and it says end A there. Oh well, what a fool I am. So if that's end B, I've also got that in the wrong place. Doesn't matter, as long as they all slot in. Yes, we need to unscrew this end again. Just drop that out for a moment. Slot this on. Well, I would if I could slot it on. Let's get these. In fact, I'm going to take all that off. Just spend the next 10 minutes looking for something on the floor. There it is. Take a few tools while I'm there. Right. It's not going to fit over those slots. Let's just dig them out. There's a Swan Morton knife blade over here, which has a thick blade. Just widen the holes a little bit. And go back to slotting them over the tabs. And just remind anybody that we are doing free postage on Scale 4 orders today. Yeah, that's fitting on there nicely now. Yes. I'm sorry, Brian, I was calling you before. It's me, not you. Again, drill those out. That's one in. Two in. Right. Now take them back out the other end and put this brake block on the right place. Pull them out. Of course, I've got to unscrew it again. Tighten her up. Now put these on the right end. Using those bits of wire, I shall slot them through. Of course, the hole on this in this one is not quite big enough. You could be right. A cup of tea would go down a treat. I'll just put these in and I'll go put the kettle on. And buy a thicker pair of tweezers. Right, well that's the brakes on one end. Let's put the pieces back, the ones we've lost. Right, that's, and the wheel can go back in. Right, let's pushing the brakes into the right position. That one is slightly out of line. I thought that didn't look right when I was doing it. That was okay. That's okay, and they're okay. So that's one end's worth of brakes. Right. They're running. Okay. Get that there. I shall just have a quick cup of tea and a break and be back. Oh. Thanks, Al.
How many orders?
3. At least. what to do with it. Right. I like that. Yes, pesky bits of brass go everywhere when you don't want them to. So now think about putting that piece back on that I cut off so ceremoniously. Where did it go? Right, I'm just going to solder it on to I shall tin that piece first. Also, I've obviously bent it while cutting it. Yes, I'm soldering this piece back on, which I cut off earlier. Stupid thing to do. I should have looked at it a bit more carefully. Anyway. Now looking at the brakes at the other end, same thing. I shall double check first before I do anything. So let's get the light right. Right, which one do we want? This one. Now then, just before I do anything, let's not make the same mistake twice. So it fits on that way round, and that is fine. All works around what it should. Put that on there. We'll do the inner one. And that's again, make sure it fits where it is supposed to. This way around. Yes, it will be fine. It is totally me that got it wrong. As I say, this is the first time I've done this one, and I've not followed any instructions. I'm just putting it together as modules, as any of Fram organ kits tend to be. What I haven't done is split that. So, as I said before, all folds are inwards, whether 180 degrees or not. So, flood that with flux. Solder runs in nicely. Same at the other end. Make sure they are all squared up. Right. Fill with flux again. And again, fill with solder. So we've got this joint, just clean up each side. And where are we? Drill out. Just putting the drill through the solder that joined them together, so it's not hard. It's just cleaning it out, so that's very cleaned up. Now take off the join at the back so we can wrap round the front. It's just going to turn this back on, let's have another look at it. Fair way to go. Yes, when Brown first did the underframes, he did give them or made them available through Coopercraft, and there were some problems with payment, so he took them all back and he gave them to me to deal with after that, and they're within the Society's stores list, so That was good. Where are we? There are tweezers. If I use the tweezers to hold at the back, I can fold them around almost at the right distance apart. Then wrap them round thing, using the drill again, take off the crud. Find their position. Plenty of flex all the way round. Move it into position. Make sure it's take the drill out again. Put them in a pair of tweezers and using the back of the iron, let the solder flood through. And that should be a nice clean joint. Same at the other side. Take those off. Fold them around the tweezers. Slot them on. And use the drill to follow it through. Just squeeze this tight. Plenty of flex again. As I said before, this is Carr's green label, especially for sheet metal work, especially brass and nickel silver. Well, of course, we call it nickel silver. It's not nickel silver at all. It's brass with nickel added, which makes it a harder, or brittler brass, or white brass. Certainly, when I cash it in at the scrappers, it all goes in the same bin. Now then, again, clean up the inside of the brake block. Where are we? Using a half round file. Good grip on it. This is a third cut file, Swiss file. Again, back in the tweezers to take off the join between front and back. And we'll fold that into position. Whoops, I haven't got a good joint there. Bit of flux on there. That's nice. What else do we need to do? We need to fold these little plates up, and that should slot into that one there. Perfect, just as Brian designed it. It's only me that got it wrong. What I didn't do, of course, was drill those out. Wrong one. I'll take that out actually. Better if you can see it. He says hopefully. Am I getting through that? Yes. Helps if you put it on the right way round in the right place. And just pull the clamp back and thread this in. I'm afraid that we're going to have to drill those out by the look of things. We didn't have to do them on the other end. That one's fine. That one needed a little bit. Let's just have a look at the end of this. Yes. Try again. All right. Some of those. So that's one in. And two in. Let's get the light from glaring. Right, so we've got 3 of the brakes done. I don't know if you, how well you can see that. Anyway, moving on to the last set. Again, just fold them up all better. Let's get the camera in the right place. And just remind everybody, if you put an order in today, it is free postage to all over the world. We are doing this today only, free postage on all Scale 4 orders. Contact me through the website or email me at stores@scale4.org. And of course, a question was asked earlier about sending rail in meter lengths. We can do that. I have got meter length postal tubes. So if you want it, then we can do that. Right, so we're just on the last set of brakes. Make sure they're in the right place. And again, this is just a small, I want to say lolly stick, but actually it's a scientific stirring stick, which I've got a box of them somewhere. And on the other side, the same again. Using the back of the iron, I'm using that to draw the solder through on the flux by capillary action. As the flux evaporates, water in the flux evaporates, the solder is drawn through. So the next thing is to do the outers. What I haven't checked is whether we've got holes there. Yes, the holes are there. Just make sure they're the right size. Yes, we're getting a small mound of tools on the bench. So that's clean up the front and back, and put those down, pick that up, making sure we put it on the right way round. Using the drill to hold all the brakes in the right place. Once I've got it all squared up using 2 pairs of tweezers, or put it all into the right place. Flux on the back. Touch it with the iron. Take out the drill. Clamp it tight, and again flux out in the back of the iron, pull it through. That should be all soldered up on that side. Now clean out the hole again. Yeah, there must have been quite a bit of flux on solder on there because it's on the back of the brake bar. Just take a bit off the front so I can see where the hole is. Take off the excess solder there. I'll need a magnifying for this bit, at least to get me started. Yeah, that's all the way through. The file takes off the excess. Now the other end, again holding it in the pliers to take off the back, hold it very tightly, using my thumb as a guide. Using the tweezers to fold it round. Slotting it on, he says, squashing it. Something yeah. Not finding the hole here, let's try it from the other side. Yeah. Using the drill to hold it all together. Clamping and fitting with the tweezers. Let's just make sure we're all square. We're not in position, that's what it is. That's better. As I said before, flux it up. solder, tack solder it, take out the drill, again plenty of flux, draw the solder through with the back of the iron. Nice join, and then just double check the holes. That one's fine. And that one's fine. So then we need to clean up the front. So again, holding that in the pliers. Let's just get this in the right position. And using the half round file, clean up that one inside and do the other side. This one has a large piece in the middle. Yeah, I need a bit of work on this side. Let's clean that. So again, wash up the front, wash up the backs, and they're done and can be folded into their positions. So just fold that up, that up, that up, that up. Again, we've got one. We will drill these out before we fold it up. This is a 0.3 drill I'm using. As I said before, I put it into the crooks of my shoulder to keep it from snapping. Let's just double check on the bits that need to come off. Another one there. I'll also drill these two out again. I can see them. Is that gone through? Yes. Just make sure the fold's right before slotting it in to position. Now we had a bit of trouble on the other end. I'm wondering whether we'll have the same trouble here. Yes, like the other end, we have a slight problem with screw being in the way. So if we lift that up, hopefully that can slot underneath it. And it is a little bit tight. So using that Swan Morton blade again, I shall just open up the slot that it needs to go into. All it is I'm removing, or not removing, I'm just squashing it, is the etch cusp inside the slot. Oh, what I didn't do was the tops. Of course I didn't. Getting ahead of myself. I didn't do the back, so I'll just quickly clean it up with this. And of course, whoops. So now then, slotting these, yep, that end. Needs to be slotted into position at the screw end first, and then moving over to the other end, we can push the frame down and screw that up tight. Now looking at these, we need to just push them into position, but first of all I need to pin them in position. So that's one end in. Let's push this one. That's all in. So we've got brakes in at both ends. Let's just check the shape. This is the wobbly end, or the sprung end. Right. Do. I say I'm pushing them into position, but they seem to be a bit far from the wheel. I'll just drop the wheel out for the moment and push them towards it. We'll put the wheel back and hopefully they'll certainly be a bit closer and not too close. Well, they're further away than I thought they were going to be, but I will push them in a little bit more. Probably more to do with the fact that the thing is only pinned, that they are not moving very well. They're springing. But there. Certainly move them closer. Let's push them to where they are against the wheel position. Now then, after that we have the brake links, too short and too long. So let's put that up there, up there. that there, and that there. So I'll cut those, turn the lamp down. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. This one's not quite down, and I've also slightly bent it. Just bend it back again. Put the pliers on it at that point. We got 1. Oh, I knew I was going to do that. And the shorter ones. So there's the shorter ones cut out. Now really I ought to file these up so that we're taking off the etch cusp. What I shall do quickly with this, it's a number 4 cut file. I've had this file a very long time. This is well, it was extremely sharp. Now it's getting old. It's showing its age and is a little blunt, but it will still cut. I say hopefully. Yes, it is cleaning them up. I'm only doing the back. As the inside, I'm not going to worry too much about it. It will be inside the wheels, so any error in them will be hidden by the wheels. Where is it? I'm putting my nail inside the frame so that I don't misshape it. There's one. I've cut the inner edge. It's the centre part's not quite clean yet, but it's coming. They're done. Again, the next one. So this is a number 4 cut file. I've not seen them for a long time. I don't know whether you can still. I'm sure you can still get them from somewhere. But, I've had it at least 20 years, probably nearer 30. The last one. Just remind everybody that we are doing free postage on all orders with the Scaleforum Society this afternoon. and we haven't had many, so hopefully stocks will be all still in. Although there is one thing that I know has gone, because I'm going to have to send somebody an email to say will follow, but hopefully it'll be here in a couple of weeks anyway. And that's one of the Morgan underframes for the cattle wagon, the 4470. They've run out today. Right, there, done. Now then, you've got a short and a long for each end. Finish that. And they just need to be slotted into the holes that we drilled in the brakes. The long ones go to the inner. They're just slightly big for the holes, so I'll put a file over the very tip of these. Not sure what that was, it just dropped. All we have to do is me drill. If it's snapped, I'll just take the stump out and sharpen it up again. And I sharpen these points on here. I'll say that should fit, hopefully now in the holes that we drilled earlier on. If I can see them. They do fit in one, but they don't fit in the other end. Oh yes, they do. I've not got it square. That's what it is. Let's use the tweezers to pull it in, or even a pair of pliers. Yeah, that's okay. Drop the wheel out. Well, I don't really need to drop the wheel out because actually this one should fit, yes, to the top slot, and the shorter one should slot. If I didn't bend it, I should put a fillet of solder on that to hold it in position. So, but that hopefully will hold that joint steady while I put this on. I shall also just expand the hole slightly. And allow that to slot over the lever. Is it going? It's not quite going over. Possibly the lever is slightly too fat for it, but we're getting there. We've got something on. It is going on, but very, very tight. Let's make that hole a little larger with the one Morton blade. So I'm going to push it up. At one end. At the other end. Twist it. And twist it. Hopefully that will slot on better. Let's just straighten that again. And That's still very, very tight. But it will go down, I think. Let's just make sure we're on properly. No, it definitely doesn't want to go on. Oh, sorry. It does. It is on. I just need to get it to go down the rod. And that needs to go down to the second hole, the middle hole. And then we can put on to the brakes. Of course, that one goes onto the top. Well, we'll leave that one loose because we need to put the wheels in. And of course, we can remove all these later because we've only pinned the brakes on with 0.3 wire. If I slot that over the end one and the wheel spins. What I will do is while we're there, I shall solder the brake pulls in the right place. So they can be taken off at a later date and everything will slot into the right position. So I've got that on there. Let's just make sure these brakes are square still before I do any soldering. Yeah. They're in. Let's just push them closer in. We're a bit distorted, so let's just push that right. That's fine. That's fine. And solder in place. So that's one end brakes done. Let's move on to the other end. Again, same principle. Let's make that hole bigger. So let's go between my finger and my nail, and hopefully I won't puncture myself. Excuse me a minute, there might be an order. Hello. No, it's a time waster. Yes, I did snap that drill. Right, where was I? Just making the hole a little bigger so we can slot it over that length. Right, where are we? That's the end that's not been done. So let's a bit delicate, that piece, so let's just make sure that the fillet of solder at the back to hold it in position. That's okay. Slots on the top okay. I can't seem to push it down. Let's take the wheel out again. Yeah, let's slot it over nicely. And again, it goes down to the second hole in the lever. You can see that. Does that help? Whoops. Got to put it through the eyes in there, through the eye on that side, and we'll put this all back together again before we solder that in position. As we will. And it will notice that these are a really grotty set of wheels, which I use for putting chassis together, so that when it's done, I take these wheels out and put a new pair in, so that I've kept all flux away from the new wheels, because it does tend to rust steel very quickly. Right, let's make sure these are in the right position before we solder them up. Get it in the right position, and there's solder on there. Let's do the other side. Make sure that one's right. Anybody has questions about the stores, do please ask. I'm here to answer all. So that's the third one done. And now we'll go into the long one. Now I had a bit of trouble on the other end, so I'll do the same with this one. Just sharpen the points that go through the slot or the hole. Make sure that they're not too fat. Do that. Where is it? A little bit of the etched tab still there to be removed. So I've done that. And again, I'll slot this through the holes. Can't see the hole. So that should fit over the top of that one. making sure that we've got the brakes in the right place before we solder them up. All soldering is done from the back of whatever I'm soldering, so that cleaning up is at a minimal later. This brake's not quite square in position, so I'll maneuver it until it is. So it wants to be pushed in a bit. Solder it back in position. Let's make sure this one's tighter in. Yep, did want to go a bit further in. Just double check this end. Everything's always worth making sure everything's nicely tight before you move on to the next step. Yes, they all want to go in a fraction. Yep. So this one is rubbing on something. The brakes are not quite. They're a bit pushed to one side, and that is also pushed over to the other side. The holding of it. Right. That's running freely enough. Now lastly with this, we've got the brake pull rod. Not sure which way round this goes until I cut it out. Just cutting it out with a pair of tin snips for the moment. Now it'll have to come out properly. It can go in the scrap. I'll just run the tin snips over that edge. No, they're okay. Now then, there's a fold in the center, which just folds to where's the tweezers? And these should meet the bottom hole in the lever. And they do. All I need to do is now difficult to do three things in one go. So if I put that on there, what is that up there? Now make sure we're in the right place. Needs to go a little bit further that way, off the GWR. And I shall tack solder it at that point. Nice blob of solder on there, and just using my fingers to guide myself. Now then, that has moved slightly to the right, so put myself some flips on there, allow it to heat up. This is why I don't like brass. You put your iron on it and it instantly goes cold. It draws the heat out of your iron very, very quickly. Whereas nickel silver tends to reflect it back. And I've got to warm this out. This is where a resistant soldering iron would be ideal. I could get it out, but I'll just use this for now. A few more seconds, it'll get hot enough. I mean, this is a 425 degrees, according to the Antex note, but I don't believe it, because this solder melts at a lot lower temperature than that, and I'm struggling. There we are. Let's get it in the right position. It's soldered in the right place. I've got a bit of a glare on there. Let's take that off. That needs to be pushed over to the right place. And that's the brake rigging attached, not to the brakes themselves yet. I might want to take this apart to paint it. What I haven't put in are the, I'm not sure what they are actually. Let's have a look. There should be some holes for stanchions. Yes, I should have put those in earlier actually, looking at this. Let's get them out. The brakes themselves should have a loop over them, which I didn't think about. Let's get those cut out. Now, this is why sometimes you should look at the instructions before you build anything. Well, it's all going to waste now, really. Not to worry. Take one of these out. They all fold up around the brakes. Now, at this present moment, I have tweezers. Need to be made up into that shape. Now, we haven't soldered the brakes in, so I'm not going to do them all, but I'll put a couple of them on by just taking out the brakes individually. As I said at the beginning of this, they're all made into modules, so we can actually take things apart either for painting or correcting or any other reason you might find that you think, oh, I've done that wrong, I'll try again. Two. Just cut it all off, just take the that can go in the scrap. Just cutting the last ones. Oops, drop one. Let's just put all these bold rounds, and I'll just have a quick shufty for the one that I dropped. Any questions on these or any of the Morgan underframes, do ask. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Oh, they give you a spare. We're all right. Don't need to find that one that's on the floor. Six. So that's 8 of those. Now we need to put these onto here, which means I'm going to have to take the bloody thing off again. Anyway, no problems. Just whip this out. As I said, they are all made in modules, except for this end, which of course I decided to snap off. So we won't do that end, we'll do this one first. Taking these pins out, should unscrew. Unscrew that slightly, it should give enough room to maneuver that out. So there's that module, just push that back in place. And of course these things have to fit around it. So if I push that in there, use press tweezers to hopefully push these through the slots. Very delicate, don't want to bend them. One slot. If I just nip that end off a bit, I can push then this one through the slot without pulling the first one out. And of course these should be soldered in place. Without soldering up your hole that you had in the piece, which I have just done. And of course that was a 0.3 hole, and I snapped the drill earlier on, so let's just get that out of there. How much we've got left of it? Not a lot. Let's find a new one. 0.3 drills. Where'd that go? I think I've just dropped it straight through. What do I do with that magnet? Yeah. Right, let's sharpen it up. Where are we? Come on, get you out. There's quite a way to go through this. It's quite a lump of solder there. Clean up the edge. A bit of spit on the end, make it glide better. There we are. That's that. Let's put that over there before we drop it again. No. No, you're all right. Anyway, that's one of those put in. Let's do the other side without soldering up or filling up the hole in the solder. That's gone through nicely. So, and hold that in position. Once I've done, and the other side done. Oh, sorry, fluxed and done. Just make it with a square. Cut those off the bottom. Where's that bigger file? There. And clean up the bottom. So that's ready to go back on. Let's make sure we put it on the right way round. Oh, we filled up that hole as well. Right. No, we're definitely not. No, we're okay. We slip this piece back into position. He says, hopefully. Just pull that out of the way. There we are. Tightening that up. Through there. Through there. Do the other side again. Oh, we've got it in, but I've bent, snapped it, not snapped it, bent it. Let's just nip that off. Anyway, the other side of there, we'll do the same again. So pull the pins out. And this should, of course, take the wheel out. So we can unslot that from there. So good job it's made in modules. I'd have been cursing. Let's put it in the right way around. So I've got one side in. Just nip that a bit shorter. And put the other side in. And as before, first to solder there. Quick first to solder there. And that one's in. The next one. Using the tweezers to find the slots. Oh, that's perfect, got them both in. And carefully doing this side again so that we don't get solder in the hole again. Done it, no problem. The inside. That's that done. Again. those off. Use a sharper file. Remove the excess. Make sure they're square before we we'll just chuck the spring out. Let's just drop the other one out before we lose it. And this can go back into position, so underneath the brake rigging rod. Let's put this into something that I can hold it with. Also, when you cut it, it needed to be reshaped. That's that one in. On to the other side. Oh, I hate these things. Yeah, it's one of those tweezer legs is longer than the other. And that's that in. So we've got the brake loops in, just make sure they're all square and what have you. Put the springs back in. And of course there's one on the floor. And of course it doesn't help if you do that. Right, so that's one spring in. Find what I did with the other one. When it fell out, there it is. Put the other spring in. The wheel. Need to pull that up, or at least get it out of the way. Before I slot it in, then let's pull that out of the way again. So that's that end done with the loops. Now then, this end's going to be a little bit difficult because I soldered that piece back on. If we can get, oh, we're okay, we can get that out. Let's take the wheel out. And let's take these pins out. And there's the other brake. Put that down. Just trying to find the slots for this to go into. There's one. Two slots, just, oh god, there's a wheel gone. Clean the iron. Again, solder on the other side. One loop done. Seems to be a loop short now. Anyway, I know there's one on the floor at least. Right, there's the second loop in. Let's just make sure it's standing straight. Is that done? Fix it up again. Second side's done. Just nip those off. Where's the file gone? Clean up the bottom. Just make sure it's all how I want it to look. That's one done. So we can slip this back into position. Make sure we get it right. I seem to be need to double check that hole. Got some solder on it, not a great amount, so this is a 0.3 drill on the long reach so that I can tuck it into my shoulder when drilling to try and keep it from wandering and hopefully not breaking the drill. One in. 2 in. And the last one, although I'm a piece short at the moment, it's on the floor somewhere. Thanks, John. I've got this caught somewhere. One, two done without filling the hole. All I need to do is find the missing one, so I'll have a quick scout round on the floor before I go out and get another kit and cut a piece out of it. Difficult, can't see it. It'll turn up when we're hoovering. What's that? There it is. The last one. Spot over there. There. The back one is in. So I don't have to remove that. I'll shorten the front one. There we are. Just need to solder them in place. I don't know whether I can do anything about the resolution on the camera. We'll take that away. Put that on there. Can we get much? I think the focus isn't quite good enough. Let's pan out a bit. Yeah. I probably could get a little bit closer. Try do that. And whoops. And that. Let's take the light right up there, helps. Anyway, what I need to do is to cut those extra lengths off and file it back. Yes, I don't know whether they can get a camera which will get a much more close-up photograph. I've got a long lens for the main camera which has a movie piece on it, but it's video rather than webcam, and I can stick the camera at the other end of the room and focus it, and it'll make this as big as this small piece as big as your hand, kind of thing. But you move it out of focus slightly, it goes. The focus goes. So I'll need the lamp myself to do this next bit. So we're going to put this back into position. Slot it on very neatly. Push these pins through the rear hole. Let's put the pin in, and the last pin. That's the last pin. Put the wheels on. So we need to move that out of the way. Pull that up. Or we slot that through. Now Brian did organise these things. Whoops, and flicked it out. Organise these kits so that you could unscrew one of the W irons, which I'm sure is a very good idea, but I've never actually done it when making these things. Once they're in, I've tended to keep them in. Let's just tighten the screw, make sure that's right. There it is. Aha, we've got a loose pin. Let's make a new one. There, we've done it. Cut that off. And that's the chassis put together. Now then, let's see what we can do with this camera. If we just shunt everything out of the way for now. Let's see how close I can bring this up. I don't know whether I'm only looking at a little screen, so that looks focused. Thanks, John. It is in focus, I take it. Yeah, it's a good day's work. Well, what time are we up to? 5 o'clock. Well, that's not too bad. Not too many questions. Thanks, Pete. Dedication. There must be some demonstrating. Well, we've got it done. But is there any questions you want me answering about the stores? Which is why I'm here, really. Let's see what I can do with this camera. Well, let's back up again. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit long-winded, all the mistakes I made. But then, that's part of the game, isn't it? It's what we all enjoy doing, putting things right again. I wonder what those bits were. Oh, yes, they were strengtheners to go on where you screw it in. So, as I say, it's not long now before John's going to change the pricing on the postage for mail order orders. So it would be a good idea if anybody wants to order anything, get an order in now, and we'll be giving free postage, of course. If anybody wants to put a mail order in by phone. I'm here until 9 o'clock tonight. Thanks, Bernie. The rail motor next week. Well, I could do that. I've still got the roof part to do. In fact, sitting here, it's been sat on top of the lathe for a while in work to be done. So, well, it's definitely too shiny. Yeah, that's it. That's the roof for the rail motor, which needs to be put together, instructions done, and a few more bits from the previous part that needs to go in. There's the interior and various other bits. Let's just move all the lights and what we're doing. All that off. That's a bit better. We'll knock that off, of course. One thing I like to do when I finish something is to tidy up and make sure the bench is clear for the next job. I'll start putting the tools back where they want to go. Thank you, Bernie. Just have a quick once around, make sure everything's back in its place. Little tubs for everything. I like to have the tools all lined up. So everything seems to have its place. Any questions anybody wants to ask about the stores, please do. And I'll be ready to give answers. Now, let me just check the email side of things. There was something came up new a bit ago. Let's have a look. Oh, they're all... Phil has just said, Philip Hall, that is, has just told me that he wishes he was as easy to find things on the floor when he dropped them. Well, we've been lucky this afternoon because there have been days where I've had to get the torch out, roll the carpet up and search underneath the bench to find things. But it's been a good day's out, good afternoon's modelling, I think. Nothing lost. All right, let's just go back into that. That's an interesting question. Any plans for cosmetic chairs? Well, I haven't got any plans. Whether Exacta Scale have got plans to do anything more, I don't know. There's the brass etched ones that Masakits do, but I've never tried them, so I know very little about them. Other than what's been posted on the website recently. I can't remember who put something up, but they were asking for people with experience to put a post up. There's a list for this somewhere. There it is. So, well, let's put everything back in its place so that it's easy to find when I want it next. Although, as I said before, I can lose things sitting on my lap. Put that on the shelf. I'm talking of rail motor, it's sat here waiting for the next section to be done, which is, well, we'll start basically with the bits that are in the bag that came with the body, and it's really the floor plan. So They go in there. That piece fits in there. That's got holes in it, which was originated for mounting the roof, but I changed the plan of that in the last etch. That's a bit tight. I'll not press it. That's to go around the motor in there. And that's the floor. In there again, it's a bit tight, so I'm not going to press it home. That piece will be obsolete because we need to access at this point and at this point. These two pieces will be mounting the roof. And then we've got the partition, which is going to fit across there. And windscreen wipers I lost on the original etch, so I never put those on the original one. Anyway, just finish tidying up. Anybody wants to ask me any more questions about the stores, please do, and I'll try and get answers to anything it's required. Where are we up to? Oh. Box for all the waste. As I said before, I collect it all up and eventually take it to the scrapper who cashes it in. So, where are we going? Anybody out there want to ask me any questions, please do. Only a few more minutes left before we can oh, we've got a few orders this afternoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That can go. Get the orders in before too long. Right, let's move everything back to how it was. We're a bit in a mess at the moment because I've got some of the stores out for various things that people have asked for. That can go in the bag of bags. Need to go in the drawer. Right, let's just clean this up again. Drop the bits out. Of course, one thing I'll say to everybody is thanks for watching, and of course, thanks to Danny and everybody who's put this day on for us. I hope everybody enjoyed what's gone on. And tonight it's my turn to look at all the. I've got it caught. All the things that you've been able to watch more live, I shall be watching this evening. I need a hook. No, I'm going to have to cheat and take it apart. Easier if I take that out. That's better. I haven't made any plans to generally make anything from my photographic collection available. But if anybody wants to see anything, they're welcome to. Just send me an email or drop me a line in some way, and I can post pictures of everything. There is a collection upstairs of about 300,000 railway photographs. Good 95%, no, 98% are steam era, but I've got a large diesel collection as well. My father was a railway photographer, and I knew a lot of the railway photographers, so I had access to a lot of collections. I have a darkroom just behind there where I do a lot of photographic printing. I've done a lot of commercial work as well for publications, or publishing, I should say. I'm just putting together some of the bits to go in the rail motor's interior. I ought to get the camera out and take some photographs, so I'll only do one of them. As I said before, if you want to see railway photographs of any particular subject, do let me know, and I can post things. Oh, I'll turn that off. Wait a second for that to warm up. No, you're not correct in thinking I have the A.R. Morton collection. I had it, but when John Morton died, the collection went back to the family and the solicitor, or the solicitors of the family, and he died. Was it last September? Anyway, it's gone now. I've got plenty of spare prints, but there's an awful lot of the pictures out of the collection I haven't got a spare print of anymore. It's a very, very good collection as well. It's a shame that it's now unavailable. And of course, I had the Castley collection as well, or at least a good access to the Castley collection until after quite a long time after he died. But obviously, that's recently been sold. Yes, whenever I went down to Aylesbury, I used to drop in at Richard Castley's and see them and change my negatives around. I need a knife, magnifier. Oh, somebody's made me a cup of tea, thank goodness. I shall leave that one to take a photograph of it. In fact, if I run off and get the camera now, we'll do it. Then I can solder it together. All right. So we'll solder those together now. Yeah, please do that, Andy. I might well have it in my own collection anyway, so I can always give you a high-res scan. Obviously, if you need to contact me, the email address is stores@scaleforum.org. Bring that back in. glare with a nickel silver sheet, but I'll do what I can. I'm just playing around with the interior of the rail motor kit that I do. Just starting to do the interior, and I've got to write the instructions, so I shall be taking photographs as I go along. What do we need? There's only a few minutes left if anybody wants to put in an order with free postage. So this is last orders, as they say. Just check what we've got on there. So there are a few orders coming in all the time. Just making up the seat to go in the rail motor. As I said before, it's all in nickel silver, which is my preferred material to work in. I'm really making these upside down. They should be attached to the body first, probably. But, they're very flimsy, these frames, so I thought I'd attach it to the seat. Let's just lower this. Bring it closer. In fact, I'll just shut that door. It's a bit cool. So that's one seat, and it should fit onto here. Can't see the half edge in this light. Like so. Anyway, I shall be closing down shortly. I'll get myself a proper break. Been a long day, but thoroughly enjoyed doing it. Hope anybody out there has enjoyed their day. Sounds a good idea. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bernie. I do appreciate that.
Time for
Well, I did break one drill bit, but it wasn't in the model. It snapped when it hit the floor. Yeah, we'll shut down in a second. A couple more minutes just in case. Time to go, I think. Yeah, we'll just shut it down while. Thanks, Pete. Right, then we'll end the stream now. And